A few months back, I made an unboxing and first impressions video of this phone right here. This is Palm's phone. While I initially knew Palm's focus of this phone's release was redefining a, quote, small phone, I really had no idea how tiny it was, or how it was going to be. And my reaction was 100% real.
You know that the phone is going to be small, but when you first see it, it's it's so tiny.
You'll notice that size is a common theme in this review, from battery to display, guts, and general footprint. It's the most distinguishing feature of this Palm phone. I've been using this phone on and off for the past few months, both as a daily driver and trying it out as the minimalistic companion phone that it's targeting. But let's first discuss this phone as a daily driver. While I am at my core an iOS fan, I did find jumping into my first Android phone in a long while rather refreshing. The Palm phone runs on Android 8.1 with a Qualcomm Snapdragon 435 processor, and it has 3 gigs of RAM. Not the best, not the worst. It's decent guts for a phone that was released in 2018, but the question is, does it stand alone for functionality in 2020? Well, somewhat yes and somewhat no. It depends on your use. For minimal business interactions, sure, you'll find that you can easily use this phone for email, text, and calls, but depending on the frequency of those, you may run out of battery fast. The size of the battery is probably my biggest qualm with this phone, and it's so tough to critique it at this point because of how tiny the phone actually is. There couldn't be much more space for a larger battery even if I wanted one. It's an 800 milliamp hour battery, so if you're like me and you incessantly check your social media, respond to comments, tweet rubbish, or play a game, you'll find this phone falls short on its lifespan. But even if you're using it sparingly, everything is smooth. Social media loads quickly, typing isn't as bad as you'd think with a tiny surface, and games run okay too. Like I said, just don't expect to play them for that long. Another simple but apparent shortfall for me is the lack of buttons on this phone. The Palm phone has one button located at the top right side, and that's the power button. There is no volume or tangible home button on this phone. The display leaves enough room for a 3-dot home feature, but it's limited functionality, and I would love to have a little bit more screen instead, or even a tangible home button. I'm a sucker for those. Seriously, I love my 7 Plus with it, and I love the new iPhone SE. It also doesn't have a headphone jack. The only port that this phone has is a charging USB-C port, so if you're going to use this phone as a gym phone, make sure you have Bluetooth earbuds. The camera on this phone is a 12 megapixel 4:3 ratio, or an 8 megapixel 16:9. It's alright, the photos aren't bad, but they're not terrific. Video is 1080p and internal memory is only 32 gigs, but still, 32 gigs in this little phone isn't terrible. Okay, so knowing what you know and how you personally use your phone, would it be a good daily driver for you? For me, no, but that's when I decided to start using this phone as, I think, what it was intended for, and that's a companion phone, a supplemental phone to the phone that you carry every day. This, for me, also had its pros and cons. The first pro was it's useful for productivity. Having my regular phone streaming music or something, while the Palm is in life mode, let me get my work done when I needed to, and also keeping limited apps on this phone kept me from screwing around. Con: you have to carry 2 phones. This is a really hard phone to say one way or another, yes, get it, or no, don't. Because it's a really cool piece of little technology. This is a stepping stone for what we may see coming in the next 3 to 5 years for a resurgence of tiny phones. This might have set the precedent for size. The other thing about buying this tiny phone is it's not going to break the bank for you. I found a few different prices of this phone on Amazon. I'll link them in the description below if you're still interested in picking up this cute little guy. And with that being said, I'm going to hand the camera off to a tech creator friend of mine, Matt from Real World Review, and he's going to tell you what he thinks of this here Palm phone. Take it away, Matt.
Hello everyone, Matt from Real World Review here. I want to start by thanking Tom for letting me be a part of this video, and you guys should go check out all the videos that we all have to offer. I bet you'll find a video that you'll like. But anyways, let's talk about the Palm phone. Like I kind of said, I already did a review on this phone earlier this year, so this will be more of an extension of that, addressing other people's questions and opinions of this phone, as well as some extra info that wasn't in that video. Let's start with the good. This phone is perfect if it isn't a phone. This was made to be an extension device, kind of like a smartwatch. But the best part is that it still is a phone. You can still make calls, use music streaming apps, use messaging apps like WhatsApp, and watch YouTube videos. Most of the bloat can be deleted or disabled, and actually all of the bloat that I didn't want was easily removed. The screen is actually not that bad at all. It is a small 3.3-inch IPS LCD, which is pretty obvious, but 720p YouTube videos doesn't actually look that bad at all on this phone. It isn't the brightest screen, but it works fine in the sun. It's actually surprising how easy it is to type on this phone, but there are many other options that you can use to avoid typing if you don't want to type on it, like voice to text. The battery is good and bad. The really good is the charging speed, which takes about half an hour for 50% or an hour for a full battery. But remember, it is just 800 milliamps. It struggles to last through the day at times if you're using a bunch of power-hungry apps, but will last through a day as an emergency phone, and especially if you have power saving mode on. And that's pretty much what this phone is. It's an at-the-moment backup phone. This is perfect for quick activities like playing music through Bluetooth in the gym or going grocery shopping. No need to lug around your 180 gram or larger phone when you can slide this credit card size 63 gram phone in your pocket. The build quality is actually really nice with this aluminum in the middle and Gorilla Glass 3 on the front and the back. But with the weight, it seems like it's very difficult to break the screen from a simple drop. And if you drop it in water, this IP68 rating will be perfect for it. And you can even go swimming with it, as long as the phone doesn't go under 1.5 meters or 5 feet. Now the decent is the rest of the specs, and where I will probably get all the hate if I'm being honest. The camera works, but it isn't anything special. Still better than pretty much any device of this size, but the 13 megapixel camera works, as well as the 8 megapixel front camera. Both shoot 1080p video at 30 frames per second and lack optical image stabilization, but that's fine. There's actually a lot of camera features in this app, like HDR support, and you even get the option for manual mode, something that the iPhone 11 Pro Max doesn't even have. This phone has 32 gigabytes of storage and lacks a memory card, which seems fine, but personally I would have liked to see a memory card slot and eSIM over a physical SIM card slot, which is really difficult to remove. Like, stupid difficult. This phone lacks NFC, which isn't really a big deal, but it means that you can't use apps like Google Pay. You do get full turn-by-turn GPS support, but this will destroy your battery if it's not on a charger. Honestly, none of this should be surprising because it runs full Android. Android Go or Android One would have made more sense, but we still get full Android. The only downside to that is we have Android 8.1, which is pretty old nowadays. We do get relatively recent security updates, but still Android 8.1, even though Android 11 was just released. Then we have the processor, which, let's be honest, it has to be bad because of the battery size. It's not the worst, running a Snapdragon 435 chip with 3GB of RAM, but if this is your companion phone to a 2018 or newer flagship phone, you'll definitely notice the speed. With all this said, this still is a perfect phone for vacations or using as a burner phone. Now for this section, I was going to talk about the bad, but it isn't really a bad device. I mean, there are other options that are technically better, at least in my eyes. Take something like a Samsung A01 or even the Samsung A10e. Minus the inferior quality but bigger screen, this is a better device for the same used price at around $100. Better processor, memory card support, headset jack support, much bigger battery, and much better software support. But the best thing about the Palm phone that no one can beat, even today, is the fact that everything is put into this very compact design and it just works. Thanks for letting me rant, everyone. Hope to see you guys around soon. And as always, thanks for watching.
Awesome. Thank you, Matt, from Real World Review. I'll be sure to include links in the description below for Matt's channel and his Palm review. It is beautiful. Thank you, dude. Regardless of how you feel about this little phone, it gets me pumped to see that Palm is trying something new. Because as far as minimalistic phones go, this is a trailblazer. The size sets precedent for everything we can expect in small phones in 2020, 2021, and beyond. It's compact, sleek, and perfect if you're into EDC stuff. It's super cute, and it works great. And that is going to be it. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to hit subscribe and ring that notification bell so you don't miss any future videos. And do the same thing to Matt's channel. Matt, thank you so much for giving me a little bit of content. I'm glad we got to do this collab. And that's going to be it for us. Thank you guys. See you in the next one. Peace.